Imagine meeting someone, falling for them. And then suddenly everything flips. You find yourself betrayed, trafficked, forced into a life of crime. It sounds like a movie plot, right?
Right.
But it's chillingly real for a young man whose story we're diving into today. Our source is this really powerful narrative called From Romance to Ransom, a cybercrime betrayal.
Mm.
It's just one account, but wow, it really shines a light on the dark side of digital deception and human trafficking. So our mission today is to unpack this truly shocking story, understand the layers, how this honeypot trap works, and how it can just destroy lives.
Yeah, and what's really striking here is how perfectly, though tragically, this case shows the evolving tactics of these cybercrime groups. They're not just hacking systems anymore, they're hacking people, hacking trust. And the story, it's a really stark reminder of that shift.
Exactly. We're going to walk you through how a relationship that seemed totally innocent spiraled into this nightmare. Imprisonment, forced labor. We'll try to dissect the whole web of deceit, from the charm at the start to the brutal end. And maybe most importantly, why this one story matters for all of us, living so much online these days. Okay, let's get into it. It all begins with what seems like a really casual meeting. So the story starts in Guangzhou, a billiards hall. You got this 19-year-old guy meeting a 17-year-old girl. You can picture it, right? The noise, the games, maybe a spark. But here's the thing. It wasn't just chance. She wasn't just like hiding who she was. She was building a whole new identity. Very glamorous. Claimed her parents were wealthy business people from Fujian province. And this wasn't just a small lie. It was the first step, the hook, designed to lure him in.
And that initial phase is so crucial for understanding how this kind of grooming works, especially when romance is involved. Creating this aspirational persona, wealthy, successful family. It's not random. It's a calculated tactic. It taps into, basic human desires, connection, maybe wanting something better, more glamorous. So by spinning this fantasy, she's not just building trust, she's making him vulnerable. What's really insidious is they often target our strengths, right? Our ability to hope, to trust, to love.
That's it. It's so subtle, slowly wearing down any skepticism. So when she makes a big request, it almost feels natural, like the next step. And it worked. The relationship grew over time. Then comes the big move. She convinces him, her boyfriend now, to travel with her to Myanmar, and the reason she gives, to meet her family's business associates. Think about that. Sounds exciting, maybe a bit adventurous. An invitation into her world, all wrapped up in this romantic idea of meeting family, getting involved in her business. For him, it must have felt like a really big deal, a sign of trust, of a future he'd probably never imagined. Well, what was coming next? And this is where things just take that horrific turn. They're traveling together, getting near the Thai-Myanmar border, and the trip just dissolves into terror. The girl, she disappears, just gone, vanish. 1 minute she's there, the next she's not. And almost immediately after she's gone, he's confronted, abducted by armed men. And you get this, they're pretending to be border guards. Just adds another layer of confusion and terror, right? The suddenness, the isolation, it would be completely disorienting.
Yeah, and looking at the bigger picture, the location, near these porous borders like Thai, Myanmar, that's absolutely deliberate. It's not an accident. These areas are, they're strategic weak points for these criminal groups. They're often chaotic, jurisdiction is blurry, making it so much easier to move victims, to hold them basically outside the easy reach of law enforcement. Once someone's across that border, getting help in becomes incredibly difficult. It's a key part of their strategy, exploiting these geographical gray areas.
And the betrayal. The absolute gut punch. It wasn't random. The girl, his girlfriend, the one he trusted, she allegedly sold him, just handed him over to a cybercrime gang. And the price? INR 11 lakh, which, for our listeners, is a really significant sum. It shows just how valuable these trafficked individuals are to their operations. Can you imagine the psychological shock? The person promising you a future, selling you for cash. It's more than just abduction. It's the complete destruction of his trust, his reality. So he went from that pool hall meeting, this romance, to being sold, like property. His new reality, nothing like the promises. He's trapped in a cybercrime camp deep inside Myanmar. That idea of meeting business associates, gone, replaced by this grim, awful truth. Jailed in a dark room, phone gone, passport gone, just completely cut off, isolated, alone. But it got even worse. It wasn't just about being in prison. He was forced into labor, 16, sometimes 20 hours a day, forced to commit online scams. Think about that. He's a victim, but he's being forced to victimize others, forced to lie, to manipulate people online, knowing he's causing harm. while he himself is suffering.
Right. And a key thing to understand here is the sheer scale, the system behind it all. Victims aren't just trafficked for, say, physical labor in the old sense. They're weaponized. They're basically broken down through fear, manipulation, violence, and then turned into tools, unwilling cogs in this massive, profitable cyber fraud machine. It's a horrifying business model. It literally runs on human despair, creating this awful cycle where victims are forced to create more victims. It's industrialized misery.
And the abuse. The physical and psychological damage was enormous. He was starved, beaten. They used iron rods, hitting him on his ears and hips. The abuse was so bad he actually lost part of his hearing. I mean, think about that level of brutality. It's designed to break someone completely, to ensure compliance, make them productive scammers. It wasn't just about forcing work. It was about stripping away everything. Dignity, identity, self-worth. After what must have felt like forever in this nightmare, a tiny bit of hope emerged. He somehow, incredibly, managed to get a secret message out to his sister. Just a desperate plea for help from that dark room. His only chance was his family got that message. Can you imagine the agony? But they had to act fast. His life was on the line. They made this awful decision to pay a ransom, 350,000 yuan, which is roughly INR 36 lakh.
Oh, wow.
Huge amount. Shows their desperation, their love, but it was the only way they saw to get him back. So he finally returned home, June 2025. Scarred, obviously, but alive, free. But the story wasn't quite over for the girl who betrayed him. Shortly after he got back, she was actually arrested herself, coming back from Thailand.
And under questioning, she admitted getting the money, that 11 lakh for selling him. And then, this detail is just chilling. She confessed she used the money for vacation. Just a vacation speaks volumes, doesn't it? About the lack of empathy, the complete dehumanization. So, okay, what does this all actually mean? For you listening, for us, for the bigger picture, because this isn't just some bizarre, isolated incident. It's really a window into a much larger and frankly growing problem. It touches everything: global security, human rights, even just our daily online lives.
Yeah, this case is such a visceral, chilling reminder of how these cybercrime groups have become, well, masters of manipulation. They're not just finding technical weaknesses anymore, like bad passwords or whatever. They're going deeper. They're exploiting fundamental human traits, our trust in others, our desire for love, for connection, sometimes even ambition or greed. They build these incredibly elaborate traps, these honeypots, designed specifically to leverage those human feelings against us, turning our very nature into a vulnerability.
And it absolutely throws a spotlight on the danger of these schemes operating across those porous borders we mentioned. The fact that victims can be trapped so easily, forced into this digital crime work because the geography is ambiguous, where laws are unclear, rescue is hard, different police forces struggle to cooperate. That creates a massive advantage for these criminals, a kind of accountability vacuum where they can just thrive.
And it brings up a really important but often missed point. When the victim is an adult, there's sometimes this assumption, maybe a legal blind spot, that they're somehow less vulnerable or should know better. It creates loopholes in trafficking laws. We often think of trafficking as involving kids or physical force, but this case really challenges that. It shows how adults can be ensnared just as effectively through sophisticated deception, through psychological coercion. Our legal frameworks really need to catch up to recognize these more subtle, modern forms of trafficking.
That's such a critical point. This case is the perfect, terrifying example of that mix. Classic human trafficking, the abduction, the imprisonment, the forced labor, but it's fused seamlessly with modern cybercrime. It's this new hybrid horror where the victim isn't just exploited physically or for immediate cash. They're forced to become unwilling participants in complex digital fraud. It's an economic model built on exploiting both body and mind. So we've walked through this really tough story today. We've seen how easily connection can be twisted, weaponized, leading to just unbelievable consequences. From a meeting in a billiards hall to a forced labor camp, romance to ransom. It's a really stark look at the depths of digital deception and human exploitation.
And if we zoom out, connect it to the bigger picture, it just highlights how crucial vigilance is in all our online interactions, especially, when things seem too good to be true, big money opportunities, whirlwind romances, sudden travel plans. We need to have that healthy skepticism. These criminal groups are incredibly sophisticated. Honestly, awareness is probably our best first defense against becoming another pawn in their game.
This whole story just makes you wonder, doesn't it? In a world where so much happens online, where we build trust virtually, how do we actually tell the difference between a genuine connection and a carefully built trap, a honeypot designed to exploit us? What are those little signs we might be missing?
And it really forces you to think about the hidden human cost behind all those scam messages or fake profiles we might see every day. To really understand the brutal reality for the people often coerced into sending them, many are victims themselves, trapped just like the young man in this story. That's, well, it's a heavy thought. But it's crucial if we want to grasp the true scale of this global crisis.